Yo, what is up, guys? So, get ready to see probably one of the worst decks ever, but I think a lot of us had some terrible first decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm here to share mine with you and also give an insight on like what my thought process was. Now, I technically did make a video a long time ago. It's on my other channel, but this was a long time ago. The audio quality is terrible, and I've kind of matured as a player. I used to actually go into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! But the thing is that I enjoy some of these like fun videos, and this is definitely going to be a fun video, because we're going to be talking about how bad my deck was. Now, again, this video was a long time ago. The audio quality is terrible, and on top of that, it's been years and years, so I want to give you guys like an updated video on like my first deck ever. Again, this is on my like other channel. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave it down below. I actually do a lot of stuff on Overwatch. I'm actually trying to get to the top 500 right now. Grandmasters is the highest, but anyways, yeah, I'll leave that down below if you guys want to sub to my gaming channel. But we're here to talk about my first Yu-Gi-Oh deck, and like I said, a lot of us have made some terrible Yu-Gi-Oh decks, and this is going to be my first one that I actually built in real life. So keep in mind, I was a budget player at this time. There were a lot of cards that were really expensive, and also the ban list was completely different. This is a long time ago. I basically built this deck on the Yu-Gi-Oh! PSP game Tag Force Duels. It was either 1 or 2, I don't remember. But I remember building this deck inside of the game. I remember like you like enter the codes, but some of these Yu-Gi-Oh! Games you could only enter the code once to get like one card for free, and then the other ones you had to just get from a pack, or you could download some hacks and you can unlock them through that. Or if you guys had it wasn't, I guess there's one thing called like an R4 for like Nintendo DS, and then I remember that the Game Boy Advance also had technically something that was similar. I remember it had like a Star Wars character on like the cartridge, but anyways, the action replays, like all those things to like access the Yu-Gi-Oh cards early. This is before Dueling Network, before like everything. I built this in like the PSP, and I was like, dude, this deck is amazing. I could win. Dude, I legit thought I could win like a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament with this, and I took this deck in, and I absolutely got destroyed by so many things. I got destroyed by 6 samurais, but okay, hold on, you guys will laugh at me for this, but there were some old school 6 samurais. Came on, yeah, this guy over here, he gets rid of face-up spell and trap cards, and then Yaichi gets rid of set spell and trap cards. I remember like, dude, the 6 samurais are the most OP thing ever. I need to build this deck. It could special summon, like, I just remember the deck, it was like normal summon, special, like special summon like so crazy with like Grandmasters, and then Great Shogun Shins. My mind was blown, and when someone summoned this thing on me, I was like, dude, I don't know, I lost the game. This was back in the day. This was like this was like Dino Rabbit to me back in the day. I'm like, dude, it opened up first turn Shogun Shin and game over. But keep in mind, guys, I was a youngin', I didn't understand the game. I mean, I was recording with this like free microphone that I got like from my monitor. It was terrible. But again, we're here to update it. I'm here to give you guys my thought process and give you guys an updated video on this. If you guys want to tell me your first deck, let me know down below, because it's kind of fun to see what Yu-Gi-Oh players do in the very beginning of the game when they don't know what the heck meta is. They don't know what an archetype is. Because I just put all these cards together. I'm like, oh, this is cool, man. I got this like idea that I want to like stall my opponents out with certain cards, and then they would just take damage, and I'm like, dude, my opponent can't do anything. This deck was absolutely terrible, alright? But we're here to explain some of the thought processes and talk about like, you know, just how the game has evolved and stuff like that. But keep in mind, guys, this deck at the time, there's no, well, there was Synchros. There's no Exceeds, there was no Link Summons, there's no Pendulums, so there's a lot of things that were different from the game. I mean, during this time, the ban list was super strange. I mean, we had one Mystical Space Typhoon. Heavy Sword might have been banned, and I think Giant Tornado was legal at the time, but I wouldn't have played Giant Tornado anyways. So the thing was is that like I had so many back row that people wanted to get rid of, but there was a card called Icarus Attack that was in Blackwings, and I thought that card was like so unfair. I had Dark Bribe, and I remember my Solemn Judgment was like bent in half because this card was like $20-something at the time, and I remember like I only had one, and the card was creased, completely destroyed, and it's not because I didn't take care of the card, it's because I traded for the card, and I only had one because, well, the cards were expensive at the time, and I was like, $20 for one card, that's crazy. I don't even remember what I traded for it, but nonetheless, it was completely destroyed. It was like bent in half. But we're here to go over my deck profile of my first Yu-Gi-Oh deck ever that I actually built in real life. And again, it's bad, but for the sake of having some fun, maybe what I actually will do is we'll have some fun. Let me know what deck, again, that you played in like the very beginnings of Yu-Gi-Oh! Down below in the comment section below. And I think it'd be fun for us to revisit like Yu-Gi-Oh! In a past format. Maybe we'll have like some type of a cutoff for like what you can run in the deck. Because obviously some people will be like, oh, my first deck ever was Zodiacs at full power, and like obviously that's not going to be fun. I mean, I'm talking about like old school decks. We'll think of like a ban list, and we'll do like a live stream. We'll have like some tournament or something where we all play some of these like first Yu-Gi-Oh decks that we've built. I think that would definitely be fun. I'll leave my Twitch down below in the description box. But anyways, so first off, here is like my only monster removal, which was Lava Golem. Now, I don't think Dark Hole was legal. I think the legal like monster removal in the game at the time was like Smashing Around Fissure. But I just ran Lava Golem just because like it couldn't be stopped. Like Lava Golem, like how do you stop Lava Golem? This was like the kaiju back in the day, especially for my deck. Now there was a downside that when you go for this, you can't normal summon or set. But like I had cards. I had Magic Cylinder. I had Nightmare Wheel. I had cards to get rid of things. Also, Nightmare Wheel was like, it was always like, oh my gosh, this card is amazing. This card was like an ultra rare. Oh my gosh, I remember ordering these things online. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have the best Yu-Gi-Oh deck. And gosh, this deck was terrible. But I actually played against real players. It was good against people in the PSP games. But anyways, Lava Golem was like my only farmer removable. Next up, we had 2 copies of like Miss Valley Soldier. I probably had 3 of these. The thing is that like I don't know why I didn't play 3 copies of it. Like I basically wanted to make a Stardust Dragon. I remember I had Turbo Warrior, couldn't even make it. It's just because I pulled it out of a pack, and I don't know. I bought a Stardust tin and then like ended up getting Turbo Warrior in a pack in maybe one of the tins or something, and I just put it in here because I'm like, well, I have extra room. Why not, right? But Miss Valley Soldier was just here because it's a tuner. It also has okay attack. It has 1700 attack, but it was mostly just used just because it was a tuner. My goal was basically just to like stall with like Destiny or Defender. Next turn, I would summon Miss Valley Soldier, synchro up into Stardust Dragon, and I thought I won the game. Back in the day, like Stardust Dragon, like if you made Stardust Dragon like early on, no joke, like it was like you had like a good chance of winning the game. Like it's kind of funny, but it was sort of true, like, especially against like lower like ranked players. All right, we're talking people that are very casual. I was casual at this time. Well, like I wanted to be competitive, okay, but like my deck was terrible. Next up, I had a Galen Duel. I remember this was a very expensive card, but I ended up trading for it. And it basically, it's that it can't be destroyed by battle. But the thing is there was I think was it Sirocco? Not Sirocco, Bora? One of the older Black Wings. Was it Bora? It did piercing damage. I remember thinking this card was so OP because I would set Galanduo turn 1, and then when I took any damage, it just gets rid of the card, so they would just get rid of it, and I would take 1700 points of damage. But this card technically had 1700 attack, so it kind of had that ability maybe to survive, maybe attacking over things. But yeah, it just couldn't be destroyed with battle. Next up, Rose Warrior Adventure. I remember I had this card, Ultimate Rare. Honestly, I shouldn't even played this card. It was back when, again, I was first starting out Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like, dude, she's hot, dude, I'm a player. Dude, you see that a lot in Yu-Gi-Oh! When people first build their decks. Like, we're talking younger kids. I know there's not as many younger kids these days in Yu-Gi-Oh! As far as, like, I remember when I first started Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, years and years ago, there was, like, younger kids that would go to these card shops. But I think now most people probably moved on to, like, Hearthstone and, like, other, like, online card games. It's just more... It's more so digital, but I see that quite often in younger players, especially newer players into the game. They'll like throw randomly Dark Magician Girl in the deck because oh she's hot. Like that's literally the only reason. Like this card was technically a tuner. The effect is so mediocre when it inflicts battle damage, your opponent takes another 300 damage. Completely irrelevant. I should have just played 3 copies of Miss Valley Soldier because he has got more attack. And it's just another tuner. It technically was a reinforcement of the army target, but that's irrelevant for this because we didn't even play it. Next up, 3 Gobs of Solar Flare Dragon. This card was like MVP, dude. Okay, there were so many times where I would turn 1, I'd open up double, and I'd be like, I win the game. Like I straight up thought I won the game because I had 2 Solar Flare Dragons. This card is old school, but anyways, it says while you control another Pyro type monster, this card cannot be attacked. And if you had 2 of them, your opponent couldn't even attack you at all. And then during each of your end phases, you get to inflict 500 damage to your opponent. So every turn, your opponent would start taking 1,000, 1,000, 1,000 if you had 2 of them out. I remember my favorite like play, like I would summon Solar Flare Dragon, and if I had Solemn Judgment, I'd set Solemn Judgment and be like, whatever monster they summon, Solemn Judgment instantly. And then I'd just be like, oh, next turn summon another Solar Flare Dragon, I win. And there would be times where people would like, you know, they'd they would basically Icarus attack, or they would do something, and I'd pay half my life points early, like turn 1, and I'd just lose because I was bad at the time. Still probably pretty bad at this game, but it's okay. I have more tops than you, Kappa. But anyways, next up, Flamvell Magician. This card was just another tuner. There's really no point of... In fact, I remember I played 3 copies of him, and like I had less copies of this. Why did I do that? I don't know. I was young, and I don't know. Maybe I thought his artwork was cool, but this card has more attack. There's really no other reason why. It's not like I'm going to control another ally of Justice Monster here, but it's just another tuner. Next up, one of the MVPs, Destiny Hero Defender. I remember this card just being so MVP turn 1, because back in the day you could actually set one card and pass. Like you can set Sangan and pass. But like Destiny Hero Defender actually sometimes got a lot of value. There's a lot of cards that were considered floater cards. We're talking Mystical Tomato, anything that would, like, when this card is destroyed in battle or sent to the graveyard, like, you would get something out of it. So, like, turn 1 sometimes I would set a Destiny Hero Defender, and someone would attack into it with, like, Sangan. They would take so much extra damage, and it was just great. Because next turn, I would instantly just summon a tuner, and then Secret Road for Stardust Dragon, attack whatever attacked into this. And yeah, it'd be just like huge advantage for me. Now this card technically does have a downside. During each of your opponent's standby phases, they get to draw an extra card. But I never let them do that because I would never leave this card out on the field. I would always have it be used as synchro material. Next up, Marshmallow. Dude, this guy MVP, dude. This guy was actually limited to 1. Same thing with like Spirit Reaper. These were just cards that couldn't be destroyed in battle, but I like Marshmallow much more because a lot of younger kids or like people that are newer to the game are also attracted to Marshmallow. I don't know. I was the same way. Next up, Spirit Reaper. I never really got to like attack directly, and it was just for destroyed. It couldn't be destroyed in battle because like my only monster removal again was like a Lava Golem. So yeah. Next up, this card was absolutely terrible. Why did I play it? Well, I thought it was like broken. Not even kidding. I thought this card was like, dude, this is so insane. It can infinitely come back. During the end phase, if it was destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, and it was face up, you can special summon it from the graveyard. It can't be used as a tribute for a tribute summon, which didn't even make any sense because it only would come back when it was destroyed by battle and also face up. So like, pretty conditional. Very terrible card. Honestly, it's probably because I couldn't like afford. Like I know I wanted more Galen Duos. I knew that definitely, but I just couldn't afford some of the other cards. Keep in mind like that this was a long time ago. Galen Duo is now like 25 cents, but like back in the day it was like $20-something. I only had like 1, and it probably was like damage that I probably traded for. Anyways, next up, multiple copies of Arcana Force the Fool. It has some like effect where you get to when the card's summoned, you get to toss a coin. You get to negate card effects that target this card, or tails negate your opponent's card effects that target this card and destroy them. Pretty much though, the only like thing that I used it for was it couldn't be destroyed by battle. That was it. Next up, because it was like a stall burn deck, we had Swords Revealing Light. This card was actually pretty meta for a long time in like the Game Boy games. At least that's what I remember. I mean, Swords Revealing Light is so good, man. Then we had 3 copies of Wave of Boiler Cannon. This was in itself kind of a win condition. I would just get more and more counters on it, and then I would pop it, and they would take a bunch of damage. Really good stuff. Next up, Mystical Space Typhoon. At the time, this was like my only spell and trap removal. I think this was like, I think everyone played like MST and like Tornado. It was either MST and Tornado or MST and like Heavy Storm. Heavy Storm might have been out on the ban list, but yeah, MST was a pretty cool card. It was like the only removal for the longest time. This card was actually at 1 for so long. Next up, Magic Cylinder, old school card, classic card. Good stuff for some old school burn decks. And Ceasefire, it just flips all the monsters. Half these cards you guys probably don't even know what the heck is this card. But anyways, it just burns your opponent for like 500 damage for each effect monster. And then if a face down defense monster or an effect monster is on the field, you get to flip them all up. Flip effects aren't activated at the time, so it can actually be pretty useful sometimes. Trap Dash Shoot, this card was at 1, which is just good turn 1 to see your opponent's hand. I thought it was so OP, man. It was OP. It actually ended up getting banned. Heck, I think right now, like in the TCG, this card is actually banned. Hey, same with all of them. Next up, we had copies of Dimension Wall. This is basically Magic Cylinder. I think it was at 2 at the time. I don't remember. I mean, keep in mind, guys, back in the day, like I didn't know that there was a ban list for the most part. I remember like people like you would just hear about, oh, that card is banned. I don't remember what cards it was. I think maybe it was like Black Flesh Soldier at the time. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember there were some cards that you would just hear, oh, that card's actually banned. You're not allowed to use it. Like I didn't know. And certain times I want to say that. I want to say at some point I played multiple copies of Marshmallow. and that's because I didn't know about the ban list. But then I obviously learned just like, what the heck, you mean this card's banned? Yeah, there's a website that has all these cards that you can't use. I was just kind of mind blown by that. But anyways, I just remember like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure Dimensional wasn't multiple. I don't know. Anyways, next up, Nightmare Wolf. This is like one of my favorite cards. So you activate this by targeting one monster your opponent controls. It can't attack or change its battle position, and then when it leaves the field, you destroy this card. During each of your standby phases, you get to burn your opponent for 500 damage. And it says that monster must be on the field to activate resolve this effect, which, I mean, whatever. But this card was really, really good just for that ability to make it so your opponent couldn't attack, and then they would start taking burn damage, which basically was the goal of the deck. This card, I thought it was really good, but then Icarus attack was just like so OP, man, I couldn't even handle it. Next up, we have Omnia's Fortune Telling. I remember thinking this card was so OP too, but then I ended up dropping. I remember I started out with 3 copies of it because I was like, dude, this card's insane. You get to see your opponent's hand, and that actually worked quite well with like Trap Dash Shoot. But anyways, during your standby phase, you select a random card and your opponent's hand. You call it Monster, Spell, or Trap, and if you call it right, you get to burn your opponent for 700 points of damage to your opponent's life points. You can only use effective once per turn. So like you would just be able to like see their hand, and if you called it right, you would just get free damage. Pretty nice stuff. The main Zone of the Spirit, it was just something that it could be a monster, and then like if it was destroyed, your opponent would take damage equal to the attack of the monster that destroyed it. So it was kind of nice. Usually it got like minimum like 1,800 points of damage, so that was kind of nice. It does special summon in defense position, but you just activate it like during your opponent's turn, and then it goes to your turn. You're able to attack over something, and like 1,800 was not too bad. Next up though, we had Judgment of Anubis. I remember ordering like 3 of these online. But anyways, when your opponent activates a spell card that would destroy a spell trap cards on the field, you get to discard a card, negate the activation. If you do destroy it, then you can destroy a face-up monster your opponent controls. And if you do that, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's attack on the field. This card was so insane when it got to go off. It was so strong. And again, it was at the time where I'm pretty sure like MST was like the only like spell and trap removal. Maybe Heavy Storm was also there. Again, I don't remember exactly. I think I would have played Heavy Storm if it was legal at the time. But I just remember people would MST like one of these cards, and I'd be like, nope, Judgment of Anubis, get rid of a card. I'm not only destroying your thing to destroy my card, so I'm stopping you, I'm negating. And then on top of that, I get to destroy a monster, and then you take burn damage. My mind was blown when I saw this card, and I was like, this is the best card ever made. It ended up being really, really conditional, but again, keep in mind, this is a bad deck over here, alright? And then we had Dark Bribe and Solemn Judgment. These were just great cards, but they were really expensive at the time. Solemn was definitely meta at the time, but again, I didn't like know about the meta because I don't know if Glad Beasts were a thing. I just remember like I did play against Glad Beasts a few times, and they had this card, and like it was like whenever I activate something like this, and Solemn Judgment hit me, I was just like, oh, I lose the game, man, because like I would go so minus, because I not only would lose my card, but also would go very minus. But you know, card advantage at the time, like I didn't understand the concept. But and for the extra deck, or I'm sorry, I guess this is the I didn't cite these. This is in the extra deck. But I remember I played like some like really like strange synchros. Turbo Warrior was one of them. I think that there was a plant one. I couldn't even make it. What was the plant synchro? Actually, hold on. Let's go to monsters. Synchro. It's not really relevant for the video, other than like, oh gosh, what was it? It was a plant for sure. Let me look it up. I just remember it like, where is it? Splendid Rose, I think was this. Yeah, you can banish a plant type monster, and I never made it. But the thing was that I threw it in there. I think I had Queen of Thorns. Actually, you know, I for sure had Queen of Thorns at some point in the game. But anyways, each player must pay 1,000 life points for each monster. There's no more special summon from the hand except for plant type monsters. Heck, this card might actually be like viable at this day and age. But old school stuff. But yeah, that was the first Yu-Gi-Oh deck that I ever actually made and played in real life. Actually, even in like my first Yu-Gi-Oh deck in the Game Boy game, I honestly don't remember it at all. But I definitely very vividly remember this deck. And this was the deck that I played for a long time. In the PSP days, man, dude, this deck was tier 0. But then again, I played in real life, got destroyed by 6 Samurais, got destroyed by Black Wings, Gladiator Beast. Like, there's just too many problems with this deck, honestly. But that is just the evolution of, you know, when someone starts out with Yu-Gi-Oh! Unless they have, like, outside help from a friend that, like, understands the game, the first deck that people make are absolutely terrible. I mean, if you guys want to, like, make a video response to this, heck, dude, I really want to know what some of these other Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTubers have actually played. So, yo, I want to tag some people. I really want to know what, like, all of the... Okay, this would be a fun video. I really want to know what a lot of these popular Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTubers... I'm going to tag some people. Like, I want to tag Lithium for sure, MCole40. Heck, if you're any... I shouldn't even mention names, because I think I'll probably add some people at the title. But I really want to know what was their first deck, and let's battle with our first Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. But unless your first Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck was, like, tier 0, like, we're talking about, like, Necros when they had, like, full power. That, I don't think it would be fun to have some duels with, but I think it'd be fun, maybe in the future, if we did something like a live stream where we actually dueled with, like, our first decks. So yeah, if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTuber, I'm tagging you in this video. Make a deck profile of the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck that you've ever made, because I would like to see what people make. Because again, some of the stuff, like, I'm not even kidding, I literally played this card just because, oh, hot girl, and she was an ultimate rare. It was a foil card, so I just played it. Like, there's some really strange reasons why people play cards. Like, dude, I thought this card was OP, but it was terrible. Like, that's just, again, when we don't know, like, you know, what's out there as far as Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, and when we're newer to the game, the decks are pretty bad, but it's entertaining because sometimes stupid things happen, and it makes it very fun. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed something a little bit different on this channel. If you did, drop a like on it, and if you want to, let me know your deck. You can make a video response to it, like, link it down below, like, in the comments. I'd love to see it, and we'll take a look at some of them, and maybe try some of them out. It'd be fun. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're always doing fun Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff on this channel, and I'm signing out.